Hi everybody and welcome back to Looking Local. Hey, we had the opportunity to sit down and visit with Melinda Burkhead at Burkhead Art Center. And what you'll find about them is they provide opportunities not only to learn and appreciate fine art, but also roll your sleeves up and actually create something for yourself. From welding to pottery to a number of other mediums, they can help you get started. And who knows, maybe you'll find your artwork in their gallery one day. We hope you enjoy. Melinda, thanks so much for joining us, taking a few minutes out of, I know you guys are busy, we're all busy, but the truth of the matter is to get a few minutes to have you come in, sit down and visit with us a little bit and let our followers and our readers learn a little bit about you. Really appreciate you coming in.
No problem.
If you don't mind, why don't you, kind of start off a little background. I know you've got some history in California and
I was
really
born and raised in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
High school in Marysville.
There we go.
Mount Lake Terrace, Marysville High School. And then after school, I was paying my way through school and doing 3 jobs, going to community college, and then I transferred to the UW, got a degree in psychology and sociology, and then after that, got married and moved to the Bay Area.
Yeah.
So, didn't really go into the art field until later. I've always been artistic and came from a very artistic family, but after my divorce, I decided what's stopping me? So I went back to grad school. In the meantime, I had a children's art studio business, at a daycare center. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18.
I was going to say that entrepreneurial heartbeat is really strong.
Yeah.
But what caused you to choose psychology, sociology? What was the interest there?
I'm always a study of people, and I like the psychology I like the idea of this, what makes us tick, and this how do we build that, and then the sociology. I took a class and I was like, oh, this is cool. This is about groups and that, and I was like, So the study of human nature.
Oh, sure.
Was really intriguing to me then. Actually applied to go to Harvard to do cognitive development with kids, and then I was like, I just couldn't imagine myself being in an office, or I needed creative flow.
Sure.
And I went to San Francisco MoMA one time, Museum of Modern Art, and I saw a sculptor, Ruth Asawa, and she had these beautiful forms and the light play, and I was just intrigued. And so then I started studying up on on sculpture, and decided to go back to school for that.
Now, had you had some artistic outlet expression experience before?
Well, I was always painting and I was always creating. When you own a children's art studio, you become very creative with a lot of things. And I taught, when I had my children's art studio, I taught about 15 classes a week, from mommy to me classes to teenagers, from sewing to fine art painting to, just a variety of different things.
Yeah. So my mother-in-law, I was mentioning a little earlier that my mother-in-law was a natural fiber artist. And when something would come through, she'd get the bug, she'd learn it, she'd teach it, and then it was over.
You find creatives have a lot of that. One of the reasons I wanted to have an art center was I wanted toys in a lot of different mediums to play with. And I find myself, some days I want to write poetry, some days I want to do photography, some days I want to sculpt, and so having the ability to have all that, but then I feel like I want to share, and so the equipment just sits there when it's not being used, so why not let it be used?
You bet.
And I also found that in my own studio work and art, I like to have community around me. So, yeah.
So you mentioned entrepreneurial endeavors there. Talk a little bit more about that, because we'll get to the studio, the gallery, and kind of the vision.
Yeah.
Certainly, but there's also, you know, the idea of a starving artist is cliche.
Yeah.
Right. So talk a little bit about that entrepreneurial aspect of it.
Well, I found myself, it was interesting. It would always become a need. Like there was some kind of need that wasn't being fulfilled. So I was working 3 jobs, and a girlfriend and I, we moved in and she had a baby, and I was like, and we couldn't find childcare. So I was like, well, I'll quit my 3 jobs and we'll start a childcare. And so it just seemed like, I'm a big believer in like your path is there, and the people, if you trust in the path, the people and the resources and things will come to you.
Sure. And
so for me, it was always that kind of feeling. I also I've been a scrapper my whole life. My dad, my my mom worked full time, just a basic clerical job, and my dad was on Social Security. So we always found creative ways to make money. So growing up, I'd come home from school and we'd get in the van and we'd go dumpster diving for cardboard and recycle cardboard. And that we would save that money, and that would be our summer vacation. And we'd go up to the San Juan Islands for 3 weeks and just hang out at a lake but in order to do that, we had to make the money throughout the year.
Sure.
So I always had this idea that if you really want something, you have to work for it. And that spirit of like things not being handed to you, you really have to push. But it also means you have to have a vision. You have to know a little bit like your direction. So, but I do find that my life has been this series of like ebbs and flows. Like it'll go, and then I'll see a different need, and my passion just starts moving in a different direction. So it's kind of cool.
And that's obviously influenced the art, but do you see that being the case also? I mean, here in Snohomish, I mean, you call it home, but do you see kind of ebbs and flows in the art community in our area?
For sure. I mean, I've only been back about 6 years, and we've opened the art center about 5 years ago. But what I've noticed is that there's just this, and I opened it right at COVID. So, and then we reopened right when we could. Yeah. So this idea of everybody was striving at that point, so it's hard to evaluate the ebbs and flow of the artistic, but I do feel like there's a renaissance happening in the art. I think as the world goes more AI and more technical, I think people are going to want to do things with their hands and be in touch with that side, that creative side. And I think they're going to have more opportunity too, because they'll have more time. Things that took them a long time will now be cut in half, and then they'll have more time.
Oh, sure.
That's my hope.
Well, yeah, no doubt about it.
That's my hope.
I think we would all
be zombie robots, but it's like I'm hoping that I have faith.
Yeah. Well, there's probably enough there for us to have another podcast.
Right?
But there's some, in these varying careers that we've had, I too have share that entrepreneurial excitement and seeing opportunities and at least thinking about what could we do here that would be interesting. There's some nuances to it as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a blending or a balancing possibly between the creativity necessary to be an artist and especially a fine artist.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could say I'm an artist as it relates to painting, but nobody else would say that. Okay? So, but as far as fine art is concerned, there's a creativity there, but then there's the creativity necessary to blend it with business as well. So
Yeah,
talk
I
a little bit about that.
definitely, I definitely know the ones that are people that are just artists and they
Yeah.
make and make and make, and then things just sit there and they don't sell it and they don't.
Yeah.
And I feel that I couldn't be that. I have to have that other. I feel like I have the other side of my brain is works just as hard. um, I'm always thinking business wise, like what's the next step in order to do what I need to do, and I think that takes a different kind of individual. You have to be able to have both sides
Yeah.
and be able to do that.
Yeah.
Um, I was talking to another artist, and she had been in Microsoft trained hundreds of people, and and I was just saying, I'm not a good manager. Like, I'm a good business person, but I'm not a very good people manager. And so, like, she goes, well, you are moving very fast. So you can always do things faster than what your team can do until you get them really on board. So you have to like allow yourself the grace and the ability to slow down while you're building these teams. And I was like, oh, okay. Because something that like an ad would take me like 10 minutes to do, but my team, it takes like a whole day to like get it railed. And I'm like,
Sure.
oh yeah. So I think it's, I have to stop and remember that not everybody has had all the experiences to do the things that I can do. So, yeah.
So how do you do that? How do you balance? I mean, you've got the entrepreneurial aspect, you've got your own fine art work that you do, but then you've got these creatives that you're bringing them into your world as well and giving them opportunities.
Right.
How do you balance all of that?
Ooh, I really tried to spend at least 2 hours a day where I'm just with myself, whether it's journaling, whether it's doing art, whether it's taking the time to that. I think allowing myself that time to think and be, but right now my balancing is not the best because I am being pulled in a lot of different directions right now, and I know that this is, as I'm building this place, I know that that's going to be my life for a little while. But I have realized that I have to bring more people in to allow myself to create my own art, because I am missing of that a lot. I haven't had a lot of opportunity in the last couple of years to make my own art. So I'm really looking at like taking 2 days completely off property in my office by the lake. Sure. And just create. So that's what I'm hoping.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the studio and the gallery.
Okay.
Right? We were there for the re-grand opening, I believe.
No, that was the grand opening.
Of the gallery?
Yeah, that was the grand opening of the gallery, not the art center, but the grand opening of the gallery was when you guys came. Right. And then since then, we've had to take a step back on that because we had the big storm that caused some damage, and we had, and then my mom got sick. So just had to take a little step back, but now we're getting it ready to do the next art shows. I'm super excited.
Great. Talk about the gallery.
So the gallery is a vision that I've always had. I want a space that can showcase fine art. Yep. And my goal is to have 5 acres of sculpture. So I want sculpture and the gallery. I want to have a space where our beginning and emerging artists don't feel intimidated to come into a gallery and show their work. A lot of artists, they'll create, and then they'll like not know how to go into a gallery, and everybody needs that first, like, here, let me show you your work. Sure. And so the idea is that to support artists in the local area, to showcase their work, to get a voice out, to build their CV, and to have that creative idea. we're also open to people that want to do an installation. Like, here's the gallery, come create something here. So I don't know how it's gonna like really flow. I am allowing that to go a little bit, just allow it to happen instead of really structuring it.
Sure.
But I am trying to find a gallery operator that has experience, because I never ran a gallery before.
Sure.
I've got great software and stuff, but I've never ran a gallery. So I am looking for a really good team once we can hit the ball rolling. We went so fast when we opened it back in April. We had a great show. We had artists from 3 miles just around the art center, which was really cool. And then we got invited to the Seattle Art Fair, which is really huge. And then we picked up the show and moved there. And since then, it's just been, we've got and then we had a lot of commissions from that. So it's just been finding the time to do the next step in the gallery. Right?
Finding the time. That's right.
And my mom is on the last part of her life, and I definitely have allowed myself to take time.
Yeah, no, that's important.
Yeah.
So you work with artists.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little bit about, an artist creates something,
Mm-hmm.
and they're satisfied with it. This is good. Okay. How important is it for that artist, at least from your experience, to have other people say that this is good?
Well, you have to be, as an artist, you have to be a little bit, what's the word? You have to really have a backbone, because art is very subjective. What I like is not what you like, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be very confident in your work. The more confident you can be in your work, where maybe nobody understands it but you. You make something and it's like but you have to be confident enough to say that this is what I want to show the world.
Mm-hmm.
And before that piece was created, it wasn't there.
You saw it before it was.
Yeah, it wasn't there. So I feel like every picture that we see, every image that we see in our daily life, somebody created that image. And before that, it wasn't there. And if you really think about that, that's like really, you see images every single day. I'm looking at Annika's work on the wall, and I was like, it is so amazing, but that wasn't there until she
That's exactly right.
stood there and painted it.
That's why I'm asking the question. I mean, for them to create something that wasn't there before, they saw it in their mind first, and then they went and they did that.
Yeah.
To me, that would seem really fulfilling, especially if they were pleased with the way that it turned out. Unlike my own my painting. Okay, so I guess my question is, how important is it to that creator, that artist, to hear words of affirmation from someone else?
Right. Well, we all love affirmation.
Well, of course we do.
And I think that.
But does it validate their work?
Some artists feel like until they make $100,000, they're not an artist.
Sure.
Some people feel that. I think, yes, I think that having somebody appreciate your work, when you have that first sale, it fills you with such energy that you're like, wow, this is something. My vision and my thing was actually something that somebody else fell in love with.
Sure.
I'm a big advocate to buy art that you love, not because the name of the artist. And so I think as an artist, especially one that's emerging, they need to have that. They need to have, and they also need to have critiques too. Like, how could this be better? But if you give the critique to the artist has to be able to say, I appreciate that, but this is my work. If you have that confidence, that's when you become a successful artist, I think.
So the studio offers a lot of opportunity for people to learn and to explore different mediums. Talk a little bit about that.
So we have a ceramics program. I'm a sculptor, so a lot of what I do starts in ceramic, whether it goes to bronze or the different stages. But so we have the ceramics, we have the hand building, we have sculpture classes, and then we also have wheel pottery classes. We currently have 4 kilns, and we just bought another one. We just got one at an auction, and big gas kiln. And for the potters out there, big car kiln. Means that it has this big cart that rolls in, and you fill it up, and then you push it into the kiln. So that's going to be a great addition to the center.
The whole cart goes in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that means I can do some big pieces, which I'm really looking forward to. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. But so we have the kilns. We're running the kilns almost twice a week now. So we're up to about 100 people a week coming through the center, taking classes. So we have that, and then we have our fine art program. And so with the center, I support local artists and T-shirts. So a teacher or an artist will come to me and say, "Hey, I want to teach fiber art. I want to teach oil painting. I want to teach watercolor." And I'm like, "Well, okay, let's put it out there. See if we get any bites. Anybody's interested." And so currently we have watercolor, and we have collage. We have oil painting in the fine art department. And then the next session, we just started stained glass. We have a great teacher, Kristen Harshaw. She's come into this center, and she's teaching. She's got a degree in art, and she's done her medium of choice is stained glass.
Wow.
So we are now have the ability to teach up to 12 students in stained glass. And that's from, cutting the glass to soldering the glass to, creating the pattern, the whole thing. We also bought 2 glass kilns, so we're going to start doing fused glass too. And then we have the welding shop. And the welding shop is, it's a small shop. It only has 4 students per class. Sure. They fill up as soon as they go online, they fill up. Sure. And that is more artistic welding, but we do have a new teacher that comes on that has experience from small welding to structural welding. So that's growing too.
What is artistic welding?
Artistic welding is, it's still, we're still teaching MIG welding. So you're getting the basics of what welding is, but you're finding metal, and you're putting it together, and you're building a little project with recycled materials and things like that. It's just not as detailed as like if you go to the community college and take a welding class. We give you the basics: how to grind, how to prep your metal, how to do it, weld it. So.
Because I've seen a fair amount of welding.
Yeah.
And I would not call it artistic. Okay. I would call it utilitarian for sure.
Yeah, look at some sculpture.
No, I have seen, like horses and stuff. You're really talking about that, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
it doesn't have to be big, but I mean.
Beginning classes, so they're making smaller projects. Yeah. Like I had a gentleman that has a horse farm. He brought in all his shoes, and he's going to create something with that. Sure. We've had people that had shovels and things, and they brought it in and made a garden gate for their project. That was for a 6-week class. That was pretty. It was 2-hour classes. That was pretty ambitious, but he did it. When we're hoping to, as the program goes, we're hoping to have an open studio in both those programs, the stained glass and the welding, so you can do a monthly membership as well. Wow. We haven't gotten that far yet.
Sure.
We still have to figure out all the ins and outs of that, but we do have that for the ceramics. So with the classes, we also have open studio where they come in and can use a thing for a monthly fee.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Okay, so entrepreneur, artist, mentor,
mom, daughter,
Mom, daughter,
wife.
wife. Give our followers kind of a glimpse into a day in the life of.
Oh, thank goodness, a day in the life of me. So I usually wake up my husband is working on East Coast time. So
Sure.
we get up a little earlier,
Sure.
which is really nice. So I get that first couple hours where I can just read and journal and take some time. And then my mom is living with us right now, and she's got dementia. So it's a never know what your day is going to be. So the caregivers get there around 10. So, depending if she sleeps until then, and how much time I have.
Yeah.
But at 10, my day usually starts, and I usually start by, seeing about the phone, the emails, and figuring out who's coming into the studio, what's going on, any fires. I got my teams that needs to know what they're going to do today. We're dealing with storm damage, so this week we've been dealing with 3 or 5 big trees that have come down in the middle of the center. So we've been doing a lot of cleanup. So my team has been splitting logs. I mean, so we just never know. And then yesterday I had a group of 10 people. We were doing raku firing. So that means we were setting up the special kilns, setting up that. It was a potluck. So, setting up the studio for a place where they can food. And then they came, and then we took hot pots at 1,800-degree pots out of a kiln, and they put it in a garbage bag, and it catches fire, and it's exciting. And so that was yesterday.
Is that raku?
That's raku.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we went, and then I had to get marketing done for some signage, and I had an interview with a teacher, payroll, graphic design.
It's all the things.
And then 5 o'clock comes, I'm like, oh, now I got to go to my other job. So I grab my computer and take it home, and then I'm on task for my other job of watching my mom for the rest of the evening. So yeah, it's my life right now is a little like, I don't know how my day is going to be. And I have to be okay with that. Like, I realized I haven't gotten into my personal studio in over 6 months. And so it was like, wow. Oh, that needs to change.
That's a little much.
Yeah.
It's a little overwhelming. I think if you're not able to actually do what your gifting is.
Yeah. But, I love supporting other people, and I've come to realize that I have been an incubator, and I did a count a couple weeks ago that there has been 16 businesses started from people that have come to the studio. Most of them potters. We had one artist, Denise Richards. We also rent studios upstairs. So she had a studio upstairs that she rented out, and then she decided to build her own studio at her house, and she teaches classes there. And she never taught before. And I was like, Denise, you got to teach. You got to teach. You teach it. She has encaustics, and I said, you got to teach. You're going to become a better artist if you teach. And she didn't believe me, and she did it, and we figured out how to make encaustics work, and we set up the program. Well, she did most of the work, and she fell in love with it. There's something about seeing other people get that spark, that energy, that like, oh my God, I can do this. Look what I created. The joy. It's joy.
Well, and I think until you're teaching something, you don't fully understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you just said. Yeah.
So I've gotten a few people that started pottery businesses. My girlfriend, she just went to the Apple Blossom. She goes, I just made $3,500 on a show, and she was just so ecstatic. And it's just so great to see and to see the progression. I mean, I've had some people there over 5 years, and they came and they've never touched clay, and now they're making these beautiful vases, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, come on, you got to teach. And they're like, no. Melinda, I want to get into my studio.
I'm enjoying what I'm doing. Let me do that for a little bit. So we've talked about the studio, the gallery, teaching, a little bit about you. Talk about the overall art community here in Snohomish, if you don't mind.
It's fabulous. When I first moved here, I tried to get a little art community going.
Yeah.
No, I couldn't seem to quite get it going, and I didn't know where to connect. And then the Snohomish art community started having socials, and they started this studio tour, and it has been really exciting to see the growth in Snohomish area. And it's really interesting. More people that come to the studio and realize I'm there, then we build this community. We're having art socials in the summer on Fridays. That's going to be really exciting. We started that a few years ago, and it was really great just to come and just chat and explore and talk with other creatives. And everybody's welcome to come to those and have a glass of wine and sit and chat by the fire.
There we go. So what's the best way for a listener of ours to
BurkheadArtCenter.com. Yeah, we post everything on the website, and also sign up for the newsletter. We'll send out a newsletter. We send a newsletter about once a month.
Okay, love it.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you coming in, spending a few minutes in a schedule that is a little more chaotic.
It is a little more chaotic than I would like, but my husband says chaos follows me, but the most creative stuff comes from that.
Good
that's what I gotta believe in.
Yeah.
Believe in the process.
We love the Snohomish area, living here and working here and raising a family. I don't think there's a better spot, and what you add to our community is really important. So thanks.
And I want to say the same to you. I am really excited to see the growth of the magazine and how it will grow.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Love it.